Hello, my name is Lorena. I am one of the career coaches at the Fort Wayne campus. Today, we're going to be talking about how to ace the interview. Some of the outlines that we're going to be covering are pre-interview, what to do during the interview, what are some things that you have to do post the interview, and then some question types and answer style. Before the interview, do some research of the company's website, social media, look for connections, try to read or try to find the company's mission or values. Some key facts to gather before interviewing are core values, products, services, or programs. The size of the company, including locations other than within your community. What is the organizational structure of the company? Something you find compelling or interesting about the company might help. If, the more background you have about the company that you're interviewing with, the better. Look at the interview specific. Who will be on it? What is the structure? It could be, there are so many types of interview. Before going to an interview, it is best to be prepared for the type of interview you might have based on the industry or the employer. Some types of interview could be a one-on-one, which is the most common one. It's just you and one interviewer. Another type of interview is a panel. You're interviewed by more than one person at the same time. Another type of interview is a group. It's a group of candidates that are interviewing you. Another very common type of interview is a meal. You're interviewed while eating, usually over lunch. It can also be working. You're put to work and observe. It could be the most common one these days is phone or video interview due to COVID-19. It's often used as a screening tool before inviting you to an on-site interview. Another type of interview is on-site or second round. After you have made it through a screening interview, this is a more extended interview at the employer side that might include a series of different types of interviews. It could be a presentation you develop or a meal you created. Now, work to understand the structure of the company. That falls into the types of interview. And if it is, for example, Parkview, they do different types of interview. They start with a phone interview, then they might do a screen, like a video interview, then you will do a face-to-face, then you will do an on-site interview. But they keep changing this format, so it's just an example. Alrighty, before the interview, what you should do? Well, one of the hardest questions in the interview is always tell us about yourself, which is known as the elevator pitch. That's where you gonna show your background. Your answer should be a brief summary of your background, where and what degree or degrees you have, what work experience you have, and any other relevant experience or accomplishment you have. That's what the tell us about yourself entails. Now, how are you framing your experiences? Try to use the we language, okay? Think about your job responsibilities. What were the positive results of all of your job responsibilities? Practice and practice. Practice a lot before your interview. If you have to put yourself in front of your mirror, do that. That will help you. Also test the technology. As the Murphy's Law states, anything that can go wrong will go wrong at that moment. When you need it the most is when the technology is gonna start acting funny. Okay, so always test the technology before you interview. So phone and video interviews are increasingly a lot, and they are becoming the norm as COVID-19 continues to impact in-person gatherings. Phone interview, how to prepare for a phone interview versus a video interview. Well, For a phone interview, make sure you will be in a quiet location with good reception. Prepare notes that you can use as a reference during your interview. Dress up. This help you this help you get into a professional mindset, feel sharp, and be at your best. When the hiring manager calls, answer the phone by saying something like, "Hello, this is Lorena to let to let the interviewer know that they have reached the right person. Speak clearly and avoid mumbling or rushing through your response. You want to make sure the interviewer can hear you loud and clear. For a video interview, the same rule of dress professionally, that way you feel prepared, head to toe as if you were having an in-person interview. Make sure you'll be in a quiet location with good reception as well. Test your internet connection before your meeting. Make sure there is a neutral, uncluttered background. Try not to be in a disorganized room. Try to have a painting behind you or use one of the Zoom backgrounds that you can pick with different images. Silence any settings that may disturb sound. For example, emails or alarms on your computer or phone. Put your phone in silence if possible. Ask for a phone number in case you are disconnected from the video call. Look at the webcam lens directly from time to time to provide direct eye contact. Okay? Now, the big question, what are you wearing? Very important. It is often suggested to wear neutral colors like navy, gray, or black. If you feel more comfortable in a print or pattern, ensure that they are not distracted or taking attention away from your interview. Make sure your clothing is wrinkle free. Jeans, when it comes to jeans, unless it's instructed, otherwise are not professional, attired, and should not be worn during an interview. However, jeans might be appropriate in a construction site where the attire is the form. But if it's not stated, normally you're gonna wear pants or skirt if it's a female, your suit, your blazer, very professional. Okay, so let's go to the next one. During the interview, always add professional. Some potential question bases are, can you do the job? Would you like this job? Can they, you might ask yourself, can they work with you, right? So there are three different types of questions you might be asked during the interview. Some questions are behavioral, behavior-based, situational, and common questions. Behavioral-based interview questions always concentrate on experiences, behaviors, knowledge, skills, and abilities that they are related to the job that you're applying to. These are based on actions you have taken in the past. When it comes to situational interview questions, conversely, situational interviews are forward-looking and employers want to see how you will approach situations in the future. They will put you an example and they are just evaluating, depending on the situation, how you will act. Some traditional interview questions. Traditional interview questions are non-specific, broad questions that an employer will ask to learn more about you, both personally and professionally. When answering questions, don't overshare and always keep it on the experience. Always focus on experience. That's what they want to know. Okay? And if you haven't had any work experience, then think about school when you had a project, when you had to work with the group for a group project of a certain class. How was that task of finding the information, doing the whole research, coming up with the answer, presenting to the class? Always think of some sort of experience, depending on the situation the interview or the interviewers ask you. During the interview, Have questions prepared. Always, always is important. At least one or two thoughtful questions because this is your time to interview them. You should always come to an interview prepared with questions to ask the interviewer because this allows the employer to know how engaged and interested you are in the position. This is often an area where people fall short in the interview. It might impact the chances of landing the job. You never know. Some sample questions can be, what would I need to know to ensure that I will be successful in this role? Another sample question could be, what do you see as the greatest challenge of this position? And last but not least, another sample question, what are the company's short-term and or long-term growth plans? These are simple questions that you can always have handy with you. That way you show your interest in the company and the interviewer see that you're prepared. General rules. Don't discuss salary until offer is on the table. This is very important. Don't give them a reason to disqualify you. Be authentic. Be you. Be honest. Be the most authentic person you can be at that moment. And avoid jargon. Okay, you want to avoid that at all times when it comes to the interview. After the interview, very important, the thank you notes or emails. In this case, due to the COVID environment, emails are the most fastest and appropriate this time. But if you write them in a thank you note, that is highly appreciated because it's not a common thing anymore. Sending a thank you email within 24 hours after your interview is very important. And a follow up with a handwritten thank you note via traditional mail. Be sure to use professional cards and your best handwriting. Have someone you trust proofread your emails. You don't want a silly grammar mistake to hurt your chances, okay? But thank you emails and thank you notes, very, very important after the interview and within 24 hours. Things to think after the interview. Fit, is it somewhere you want to work? What expenses are there in taking the job? But this, what it means is like, let's say you have to drive for 45 minutes every day to go to work. Is that realistic to you? Is that something that you will be doing? Will the job require you physical activities? Will you be able to do it? Those are the type of like expenses that are taken into the job, okay? Questions, examples. The starter, again, tell us about yourself and why you're interested in the job. Tell us about yourself. Your answer always should be a brief summary of your background, where and what degrees you have, your work experience, and any other relevant experience or accomplishment you want to share. It should be between 30 seconds to 2 minutes, okay? Why do you want to work for us? Concentrate on speaking about the quality of the organization and how you feel that the position will be a great fit for both you and the employer. What are your biggest strengths? In your answer, make sure you share a transferable skill that you have that is valuable, that is a valuable asset regardless of the job. These are some of the questions that could be the starter, okay? Question example, introspective. What is your greatest strength? This is your time to shine. Brainstorm and be prepared for this type of questions. Use these questions to present yourself in a positive light. Use narrow examples. Always positive examples. Always a solution. Things that you come up with a solution in a positive manner. Question examples, behavioral. Talk about a time when you had to work closely with someone whose personality was very different from yours, which is very often, it's a common thing at work. Use a specific example. Use the STAR method, very handy. You had a situation or task. What was the action that you took and the result? What was the result of that situation or task? Always the STAR method helps a lot to answer any question during an interview. That way you answer in a professional manner and have a positive result. Okay, and then the outline of this presentation has been the research, concentrate on your experience, be authentic, practice, practice, practice as much as you can, and then the interview, okay? Activity, peer interview. Use the question provided to you and as your partner, as a friend or a family member, if you can practice with them. As the question they ask you in the interview. That way you can get that feedback or that different reaction or answer that you might not think of. Remember the STAR method. Always remember situation or task. What was the action you took? What was the result? Always look at a positive result. Ask one question of your own to your family or friend. That can be a real interview question. You never know. Okay. And that is the end of our presentation today. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, please get in contact with the Career Coaching and Employer Connections office at the Fort Wayne campus. Thank you so much.